This is a Sports Catastrophe production.
Hey there, Heather Ho, there's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe Birthday Boy. And the birthday boy for today, September 29th, is a Finnish, or someone from Finland, as I should say, Formula One Drivers Champion, who won back-to-back titles in 98 and 99, surprising a lot of people, because a lot of people think that Michael Schumacher was the 98 and 99 champion, but no, he wasn't. Hakkinen is one of 3 Finnish drivers to win the World Drivers' Championship. And in fact, he's the only one to do it on multiple occasions. This guy is an icon for Finland, winning 98 99. Finished runner-up in 2000. And then 2 years later, he would retire. He would be moving to the German Racing League, and he is an icon. He is Mika Hakkinen, who is now 56 years old. Hakkinen was born in Helsinki, Maakunta, Finland, September 1968. So anyway, he actually lived at on the same street as fellow Finnish F1 driver Mika Salo. Hakkinen loved go-karting. When he was 5, he did all that. So he was a go-kart icon. And would do quite well for them and all that. Hakkinen would go from go-karting to car racing by 1987 when he purchased a Formula Ford 1600 from J.J. Leto, fellow Finn and F1 driver. Anyway, he would be in the Nordic Formula Ford Championships, winning each title, well, Finland, Sweden, and Nordic, on the first attempts and 9 races combined. He went to the British Formula 3 thing in 1989, which is one of the feeder systems into F1. So in 1990, he was huge and all that for Formula 3. He would be headed to Team Lotus in 1991. And his teammate was Julian Bailey. But Hakkinen in the US Grand Prix qualified 13th for the grid and took 13th overall. He actually took 5th in San Marino, his first time in the points. Unfortunately, his car would have some problems and all that. So Mika Hakkinen alongside Johnny Habert and Michael Bartels would be part of Lotus. He would finish 16th in the Drivers' Championship, getting 2 points. Those points at San Marino. In 92, he remained at Lotus with Johnny Herbert and finished up 9th. He went to Mexico, got points, and did quite well in Brazil. Hakkinen had a contract dispute and opted to join Williams, but Williams did not submit their entry for the 93 season, and Hakkinen could not. But he went to McLaren after a few days. So McLaren was going to get Hakkinen to drive for them, but Hakkinen was then replaced by Michael Andretti once Andretti went from kart racing to F1. So he would be doing testing duties and all that. Michael Andretti left F1 surprisingly after the Italian Grand Prix, which meant that Hakkinen would be gaining his seat. He entered the Portuguese Grand Prix, and he had qualified Ayrton Senna. Unfortunately, he would hit a wall and couldn't race. But in Japan, he took 3rd place, which was good. Unfortunately, though, his car broke down in Australia. So he scored 4 points, and Hakkinen would be on McLaren for the foreseeable future. Hakkinen was with McLaren with Martin Brundle, you know, the guy from F1 commentary. And he had a terrible start and all that. At the San Marino Grand Prix, he finished on the podium, but then he couldn't finish races. He would take a podium at the British Grand Prix. Unfortunately, he had a 1-race ban for his booting. Anyway, Hakkinen would actually take second at the Belgian Grand Prix and got consecutive third place finishes, taking fourth in the Drivers' Championship, which was pretty good. Hakkinen stayed at McLaren 95, and Nigel Mansell would be his teammate and all that. Unfortunately, the car was not wide enough because their hands and elbows would hit the sides of the cockpit. Anyway, Mansell missed the first 2 rounds, so Mark Brundle had to come in. Anyway, Hakkinen started off the season by finishing 4th in Brazil. Took 5th at San Marino. And racing was just racing. And all that. So, anyway. Unfortunately, in Australia, Hakkinen suffered a massive crash. He suffered tire failure and his car was airborne and crashed sideways into the crash barrier. Hakkinen had a skull fracture, internal bleeding, and a blockage of his airway. Fortunately, though, Sid Watkins saved his life and all that. He had an emergency tracheotomy on the track, delivering oxygen to enable Hakkinen to breathe. Hakkinen's heart had to be restarted twice, and he went to the Royal Adelaide Hospital. Fortunately, it was only half a kilometer from the race circuit, and he was in critical condition for 2 months. He would make a massive recovery. Hakkinen donated some money to the Royal Adelaide Hospital because of the elite medical attention he got. He would finish 7th in the Drivers' Championship. 96, he came back at McLaren and got points in his first 2 races and all that. So he kept getting 3rd place finishes and took 5th in the Drivers' Championship with 31 points in 96. In 97, he stayed at McLaren with Coulthard, his teammate. And he looked like he was going to win the British Grand Prix. Unfortunately, though, his engine blew and Jacques Villeneuve would win the race. Hakkinen would take 3rd place in Germany, 3rd place in Belgium, but was disqualified because of illegal fuel. Hakkinen took 4th in Japan, and then the final round at the European Grand Prix, in which Villeneuve and Schumacher were battling each other for the title, and Schumacher trying to hit Villeneuve and take him out of the race, which failed because it was Schumi who was hurt and out of the race. Jacques Villeneuve allowed Mika Hakkinen to pass him to win the European Grand Prix and to win his first F1 race. Hakkinen would finish 6th in the Drivers' Championship. And then in 98, he stayed at McLaren with Coulthard, and he was confident. Unfortunately, there was controversy as teammate Coulthard let Hakkinen pass him to win the race. Hakkinen would win in Brazil cleanly this time. Took 2nd at the Argentine Grand Prix. A couple of back-to-back wins, and unfortunately in Canada he had a gearbox failure. He would be racing hard and all of that. Hakkinen would win the Luxembourg and Japanese Grand Prix, winning back-to-back races, clinching the 98 World Championships ahead of Michael Schumacher. He was named Finnish Sports Personnel of the Year, obviously, and there was postage stamps. So Hakkinen looked pretty confident and all that. Hakkinen won in Brazil, took a few seconds and thirds, and he was racing quite well and all of that. 2nd and 3rd, winning the Japanese Grand Prix at the season finale, which meant he beat Eddie Irvine of Ferrari. And that was when Michael Schumacher got injured and couldn't race in the middle of the season. So anyway, he looked pretty good and all that. Despite the F1 win, Hakkinen did not win the Finnish Personnel of the Year. He lost to Mika Meola, a good skier. Anyhow, it was possible that Hakkinen could have won 3 straight races and all that. So he's basically McLaren royalty and all that. He did take the World Championship lead from Schumi and won at Belgium. But after a runner-up in Italy, an engine failure in the U.S., and in second place in Japan, he ended up losing the World Championship to Schumi and took fourth place in Malaysia. Anyway, Hakkinen was trying his best in 2001, finishing fifth in the Drivers' Championship and winning at the U.S. Grand Prix. So he would take a sabbatical after the 2001 season. And anyway, it was huge and all that. But he decided to retire by 2002, so that went to the German racing thing. He's been through retirement, great personality. He's lived in Monaco since 1991. Hakkinen had a collection of F1 trophies, but they were destroyed after a fire in his newly completed mansion in France in 2008 happened, because a light in one of his trophy cabinets short-circuited. Hakkinen would marry a teenage journalist, having 2 children, but it ended in divorce in 2008. But his second wife from the Czech Republic gave him 2 daughters and a son. So he has 5 children with 2 different ladies. But still, his rise from the Finnish racing circuit to British Formula 3 to Formula 1 from 1991 to 2001, including 3 top 2 finishes in the Drivers' Championship, 98-99 title, and then to 2008 in second place. This guy still is pretty good and all that, and a great rival to Schumi, and that's saying a lot. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.